What if I told you that the most likely place to find alien life isn't on Mars or some distant exoplanet, but on an icy moon right here in our own solar system, a place where billions of gallons of liquid water have remained hidden for billions of years, potentially harboring secrets that could rewrite our understanding of life itself? This is Europa, Jupiter's mysterious ice-covered moon that NASA scientists have called their highest priority in the search for alien life. What lies beneath its frozen surface has become one of space exploration's most tantalizing mysteries, and what we're discovering could change everything we thought we knew about where life can exist. Today on Space Enigmas, we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing worlds in our solar system to uncover what might be the greatest discovery of our lifetime, what's really hidden under Europa's ice.
Every time I look into Europa, I'm amazed at how unique this small moon really is. Europa is Jupiter's sixth moon and the second closest Galilean satellite to the planet. It's only about 1,900 miles in diameter, roughly the size of our moon. But don't let its modest size fool you. The fascinating thing is that beneath Europa's icy crust, there's likely an ocean containing twice as much water as all of Earth's oceans combined.
Wait, that would make Europa's ocean the largest body of water in our entire solar system.
Exactly. Kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. We're talking about a moon that could fit inside the United States, but with more water than our entire planet.
And we're not just guessing that there's water there, we have compelling evidence. Take a look at these amazing images of Europa's surface. See those cracks and lines. They resemble frozen oceans on Earth. But what's even more impressive, these patterns are constantly changing.
Exactly. When the Galileo spacecraft explored Jupiter from 1995 to 2003, it found something really cool. Europa's surface is relatively young and constantly renewing itself. This strongly suggests there's a lot of activity happening under all that ice.
It's almost like the ice is a thin skin over something alive beneath, constantly moving and changing.
That's actually a perfect way to describe it. Remember our Mars video where we talked about those subtle surface changes? This is way more dramatic. Europa's surface is literally being torn apart and reformed. But how can liquid water exist so far from the sun? The answer is tidal forces.
Wait, like Earth's tides?
Similar principle, but on steroids. Europa is caught in this incredible gravitational dance with Jupiter and its neighbouring moons, Io, Ganymede, and Callisto. I've been fascinated by how this cosmic dance creates massive tidal forces that literally stretch and compress the entire moon.
Like a cosmic stress toy.
Good analogy. This constant stretching and squeezing generates massive amounts of heat inside the moon. Enough to keep water liquid even at a distance of 485 million miles from the sun, where surface temperatures reach minus 260 degrees Fahrenheit.
But let's talk about the main attraction. What's actually hiding under that icy crust? How deep could this mysterious ocean be?
From what researchers have pieced together, Europa's ice shell is between 10 and 15 miles thick, with an ocean around 60 miles deep beneath it. That's mind-blowing when you consider that the deepest point in Earth's oceans, the Mariana Trench, is only about 7 miles deep.
So to visualize this, if the ice crust were the thickness of an apple skin, the ocean underneath would be like the entire apple?
Even more extreme. If Europa were the size of a basketball, the ice crust would be about as thick as a credit card, and the ocean would make up almost the entire ball. We're talking about an absolutely massive volume of water. This is where it gets super exciting. Back in 2013, the Hubble telescope caught something incredible. Massive water plumes actually erupting from Europa's surface. These weren't small either. They shot up more than 120 miles into space.
Wait, are you saying Europa's ocean isn't completely isolated, that it's somehow breaking through the ice?
Exactly. And this fundamentally changes our understanding of this world. These plumes, like geysers on Earth, just on a massive scale, indicate that there's exchange between the surface and the subsurface ocean, and that means
that we can explore the composition of this ocean without drilling through the ice.
Absolutely right. These water plumes are literally samples of Europa's ocean being ejected into space. And future missions, such as NASA's Europa Clipper, scheduled for 2024, will be able to fly directly through these plumes and analyze their contents.
What do we already know about the chemical composition of this ocean?
I've looked into the spectral analysis data from Europa's surface, and it's really diverse. Besides water ice, there's magnesium and sodium salts, plus sulfuric acid, which likely came from volcanic eruptions on nearby Io. It's like a cosmic chemistry set out there.
Salts and acids don't sound particularly friendly to life.
Actually, that's what makes this so exciting. These compounds show it's a chemically rich environment. I've been reading about extremophils on Earth, organisms that thrive in crazy places like acidic hot springs and lakes under Antarctic ice. These Europa salts could even work like antifreeze, keeping water liquid in those incredibly cold temperatures.
But if there's no sunlight, where would energy to sustain life come from?
That's the million-dollar question, Adam. While most life on Earth needs sunlight, there's a whole different story happening in our deep oceans. I've been absolutely fascinated by these hydrothermal vents, basically underwater volcanoes, where entire ecosystems thrive using chemical energy instead of sunlight.
So instead of solar energy, they use chemical energy.
Exactly. These amazing bacteria use sulfur and methane from the vents to create energy, becoming the base of the entire food chain. And here's what keeps me up at night. Everything points to similar hydrothermal vents possibly existing on Europa's ocean floor too.
It's like discovering Earth has a twin that's been hidden in plain sight this whole time.
That's an interesting way to look at it. In some ways, Europa's ocean might be more similar to Earth's early oceans than our current ones. And remember, it was in those early oceans that life on our planet began.
Because of the same tidal heating you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Just try to picture this with me. On Europa's rocky ocean floor, in complete darkness, under 60 miles of water and 15 miles of ice, there could be these incredible oases of life, all powered by the moon's internal energy. It's not science fiction. It's a genuine possibility.
You know what this reminds me of? Those extremophile bacteria we talked about in our black holes episode. Life finding a way in the most unlikely places.
Exactly. And that's what makes astrobiology so exciting. Life is incredibly persistent and adaptable. If there's energy and water, life seems to find a way to harness it.
What if, and I know this sounds wild, but what if some form of intelligent life evolved in Europa's ocean? Would they even know there's a universe beyond their icy ceiling?
That's such a fascinating thought experiment. Imagine intelligent beings that evolved in a water world with no concept of stars, planets, or even light as we understand it. Their entire universe would be this dark ocean, and the ice ceiling might be their version of our edge of the observable universe. They might have mythology about what exists beyond it. Most space researchers play it safe and suggest that if there's life there, it's probably just tiny microbes. But here's the mind-blowing part. Europa's ocean has likely been stable for billions of years. That's even longer than it took life on Earth to evolve from single cells into the complex organisms we see today.
So theoretically, more complex life forms could have evolved there.
Theoretically, absolutely. And this is where my imagination goes wild. Just think about creatures evolved for life under hundreds of atmospheres of pressure, in permanent darkness, with no seasons or day-night cycles at all. What would something like that even look like? How would they sense their world?
I'm picturing something like deep-sea creatures on Earth, transparent bodies, Maybe bioluminescent with weird appendages.
Maybe. But consider this. Evolution on Europa would have taken a completely separate path from Earth. The life there could be so fundamentally different that we might not even recognize it as life at first. What if they communicate through electrical signals? What if they exist as a network rather than individual organisms? What if their biochemistry isn't even carbon-based?
Could they use echolocation like Earth's dolphins or bats? Or maybe bioluminescence like deep sea fish?
I think it's totally possible. Or maybe they've developed senses we can't even wrap our heads around. Maybe they navigate using electrical fields or detect the slightest changes in water pressure. The possibilities are endless.
It's wild to think that if we do find complex life on Europa, it would be evolving in an environment with completely different selective pressures than Earth. Their versions of eyes, ears, mobility, everything would be uniquely adapted to a dark, high-pressure water world.
Absolutely. And there's something else to consider. With no sunlight, there's also no day-night cycle. So these organisms wouldn't have any of our circadian rhythms. No concept of day or night, just constant perpetual darkness with maybe the faint glow of hydrothermal vents and whatever bioluminescence might have evolved. That would be the dream mission. But the technical challenges are enormous. For now, we're getting some exciting preliminary missions. I've been following NASA's Europa Clipper, scheduled for launch in October 2024. It won't land, but it'll make multiple close flybys, studying Europa from orbit.
What about the European Space Agency's JUICE mission? I believe they're planning to explore Jupiter's moons too.
Exactly. I've been super excited about the JUICE mission since it launched in April 2023. It'll reach Jupiter around 2031 and will study not just Europa, but also Ganymede and Callisto. Those are also icy moons that might have their own subsurface oceans. It's like we're finally getting a proper tour of these fascinating worlds. I've also been following the discussions about NASA potentially sending a lander to Europa in the future. Can you imagine actually touching down on that icy surface? That spacecraft could analyze what the surface is made of, and maybe even detect organic compounds that have bubbled up from the ocean below.
What about the most ambitious idea, sending a submarine drone that could penetrate through the ice and explore the ocean directly?
They're actually working on concepts like that. There's this idea for a cryobot that could melt through the ice, and a hydrobot that would swim through the alien ocean. I've seen some of the early designs, and they're incredible, but the technology isn't quite there yet. That's definitely something for the future, but man, can you imagine the discoveries?
I'm just picturing that first camera feed coming back from under the ice. What would we see? Darkness, strange structures, movement.
That first glimpse beneath Europa's ice would be one of the most significant moments in human history. Right up there with the moon landing or the first images from Mars. It would be our first look at a completely alien ocean that's existed, isolated from Earth for billions of years.
And there's also the question of planetary protection, right? If we send an Earth spacecraft there, don't we risk contaminating a potential alien ecosystem?
That's a huge concern. I've been reading about planetary protection protocols, and it's incredibly complex. Any mission that might contact Europa's ocean would need extreme sterilization to avoid contaminating a pristine alien ecosystem with Earth microbes. It's like being the most careful visitor possible to a completely untouched wilderness.
Exploring Europa isn't just scientific curiosity, it's a search for an answer to one of the most fundamental questions. Are we alone in the universe? And even if life on Europa turns out to be just simple microbes, their very existence would be a revolutionary discovery.
Absolutely. This is why I'm so passionate about Europa. If we find life there, life that evolved completely separately from Earth's, it would transform our understanding of how common life might be across the universe. And if life can thrive in a subsurface ocean of an icy moon, just imagine how many other seemingly inhospitable places might actually be teeming with alien biology.
It would be the ultimate confirmation that life isn't some cosmic fluke that happened only on Earth, but potentially a common occurrence throughout the universe.
Exactly. And here's a truly mind-blowing thought. Right now, as we're making this video, as people are watching it, beneath the ice of Europa, there might be life forms going about their existence, completely unaware that beings from another world are contemplating their discovery, just as they've been doing for billions of years.
Europa reminds us that the universe might be much more amazing and full of life than we could have imagined, and perhaps the answers to humanity's deepest questions aren't hidden among distant stars, but right here in our own solar system, beneath the icy crust of a Jovian moon.
Every time I look up at the night sky and spot Jupiter's bright dot, I can't help but think about this icy moon orbiting it, with its vast hidden ocean that might hold one of the greatest discoveries in human history. It's literally out there right now, just waiting for us to explore it.
What's hiding beneath Europa's ice? We hope to finally learn the answer in the coming decades. Until then, we can only theorize and wonder, what if right now, in the darkness of Europa's subsurface ocean, something is moving, living, and perhaps even thinking? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next episodes about the mysteries of space. And in the comments, tell us what you think might be hiding under Europa's ice.
And make sure to check out our next video, where we'll dive into those bizarre radio signals coming from the center of our galaxy that have everyone scratching their heads. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one.
See you in the next episode of Space Enigmas.